Hi everyone, welcome to your March Alchemy Scope. So let's take a look and see what is the macrocycle, what is the narrative that is underpinning the energy set and the growth cycle for all of us, for the collective. So to do that, we look at the Sabian Symbol, and this month's new moon is also an annular solar eclipse. And it's happening at 8 degrees 12 minutes Pisces on the 26th of February 2017. At that point, the Sabian symbol is a jockey spurs his horse, intent on outdistancing his rivals. So if we look at the keynote for this particular symbol, we have intense mobilization of energy and skill in the drive for success in any social performance, affected by the competitive spirit. This is talking about every superfluous weight, every unnecessary consideration is to be dismissed in the one-pointed attempt to reach one's social goal. One of the key words for this symbol is self-quickening. So let's take a look. That's the energy for all of us. The collective is going through a self-quickening portal of evolution, okay? And again, the keynote for this symbol, intense mobilization of energy and skill in the drive for success in any social performance, affected by the competitive spirit. Okay, so let's take a look and see what is the specific narrative for your particular sign. Gemini, welcome to your March alchemic evolutionary story. What is the narrative that's playing out for your growth and evolution? So you can see here, as I've been doing since the beginning of the year, these kind of two branches of the Gemini path, okay? So what I want you to do is tune into one of the forms, square or circle, and see which one, choose which one resonates the most for you, okay? This is representing a bifurcation in the Gemini path. And often what I'm finding, in fact, 95% of the time, the narratives for the square path and the circle path are the same or similar, but they're nuanced. So they have different aspects to them, different catalysts or different underpinning narratives that are playing out in the same growth journey. So choose one, and while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and choose the Carolyn Mace archetype growth edge. What is the growth edge for square? What is the growth edge for circle? So we'll start with square. Pisces, new moon, cycle, Gemini. And for circle, Gemini. Oh, you know what? I picked two. We're going to take two. We're going to take two for that. All right, so let's take a peek at these first. Fabulous. Okay, so we have Goddess as the growth edge coming up for the squares over the course of the March Pisces new moon cycle. And we have Lover and Pioneer, which is interesting. So we'll talk about these after we look at the spreads. So Gemini, if you haven't selected a form yet, put the video on pause. Otherwise, I'll do the reveal now. Okay, so we're going to start with square, all right? And you can see these yellow bordered cards. These are the Bral Talej deck. I'll leave the link down in the description below. And in the center is the Druidcraft Tarot. And here the white bordered cards for the circles are my Siri deck. And I've had people ask if they're for sale. They're not. It's my own deck that I created for myself many years ago. And also the Druidcraft. So let's take a look at what's coming up. Now, I will tell you, in order to talk about this central theme that I'm picking up to talk to you about right now, it really involves the whole reading, okay? But let me show you what's coming up. So in the center of the, let's say, the impetus or the issue that's unfolding for your egoic evolutionary process, insisting, okay? So you are resolute in making something happen. And for you, it has to do with Ace of Cups reversed. Ace of Cups reversed has to do with a lack of love, a lack of flow of emotional health happening within yourself and between you with others in relationships. So here there's a lack of love, and there's something that you're insisting with regards to that topic, okay? And if we look here, your thoughts are focused on friendships that have closed, friendships that have left, friendships that have dissolved. But also you, I think, are insisting on closing friendships that no longer resonate for you. So for a lot of Geminis, over the course of this cycle, Gemini squares, you are wanting to close friendships. And you're wanting to close friendships that have been challenging, that have been difficult for you. So there's a resoluteness within you, Gemini. This is about you insisting to make a decision and to own your power, your boundary, what feels right and aligned for you. And if there's difficulty, dissonance happening in relationships, guess what? This month, you're going to make some decisions, okay? And this is for your own health. This is for creating your own boundary and border. Now, with any of these readings, with any sign, with any evolutionary process, with any, catalyzed activity that's going on, there's always a balanced way to do it and an evolved way to do it and an imbalanced way. So this can show up many ways. It depends on how you operate in the world and what you choose to mature and not mature. But this is the deal. Emotionally, you are feeling more aligned. I think that this new harmony is talking about you're feeling more committed to your own inner wisdom, to your own inner knowing. And I think this feels really beautiful. And look at this. The God card is coming up in the spiritual sector. So for some of you, this is going to talk about religious affiliations, okay? For others, it's going to talk about a new level of spiritual depth that is evolving through you, in you. So this evolution of this God source realization or a desire to be more connected to that is really aligning you more with you. What I get is that there's more of a self-value that's taking place, Gemini, and this feels amazing. So for you, again, you're insisting on closing relationships that have been difficult, okay? Here, this is about the topic of not receiving love. It could have been an imbalanced situation, either with a love partner or friends. It could be tribe, group, family, anybody. Now, if we look at your growth edge, look at what's coming up here for you. This is Goddess. Now, for the women and the men watching, there's the inner feminine within the men, right? And there's the inner feminine within women as well. So let's take a look at what's happening here. So what is asking to be evolved through you during the month of March is the exploitation of the female nature or the female form, okay? What wants to be evolved is the feminine, expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality, okay? Now, this is an honoring of the feminine principle, which lives within each human, which lives within the planetary system, which lives within living systems. So there's a rebalancing, see, happening here. But this is asking you to attend to it. So as you create your borders and you make a resolute decision, I'm going to eliminate, relationships in my life that no longer honor me. Goddess is saying, okay, honor your own inner feminine. That's exactly the growth edge for you over the cycle. It's very powerful. Now, let's take a look at circle. Here we have in the center message, right. So this is about expression, self-expression, hope, and making another choice around it. So there's a hopeful attitude at the center of your month. You have a hopeful attitude about making another choice with how and with whom you express yourself. And interestingly, if we look at the Druidcraft Tarot that came up in the center, this is the Hierophant reversed. Okay, so this is the High Priest in the Druidcraft. Okay, but this is the Hierophant card, number 5. And this major arcana card, when it's upright, is about institutions and tradition. It can be about marriage as well. It's about doing the societal norm, you know. Here, it's about becoming an individual, owning your distinct individual self. This is about breaking out of the sheep mentality and owning your voice, your value, your distinct self. So there's something, again, very powerful, because for you in the circles, it very much has to do with how you express yourself and making another choice with it. But again, it's also who you express yourself to, okay? Now, if we go to the spiritual sector, I'm going to start with the spiritual sector for you, because just like we received the friendship card in the squares, we're receiving the community card here. So for you in the spiritual sector, for the circles, there's a deep sense that community is important. There's a deep sense of realizing that you are not an isolated entity, that life is interrelational, that you do not only need community, but you desire that thriving, like-minded, like-hearted community. So this is about you realizing or feeling deeply that, yes, I want my tribe. This is about sensing the importance of finding your tribe, okay? Now, and if we go across, because I'm going to jump around a little bit, but it's all the same message that we're getting here, right? So emotionally, this is, and by the way, because the writing card and the creativity card is coming up, that could have something to do with a project, something related to a project. People, for example, community that you work with, but we'll talk about that in a second. So emotionally, we have structure, release and let go, okay, and creativity. Now, this sector here could be talking about there's something that you need to release, meaning you could have a creative project within you that feels like it's been bubbling and burning within you, and it's time to let it out, and it is maybe time to kind of release it out into the world. It also could have to do with there's something about the community that you are thinking about or that you're hoping emerges into your life that needs to be released. There's some structure, and this could have to do with religion. It could have to do with institution. It could have to do with a workplace, like a place where you're tied, a structure, a foundation of some tie that needs to be let go now for you to express your creativity. Okay? So there's something that's binding you in place, some foundation, some structure. And by the way, this came up in the emotional sector. So it could be that you have an emotional relationship to a certain place. Again, it could be work. It could be some institution. It could be for some of you, it could be some religious affiliation that you've had maybe your whole life. But there's something emerging. There's a dynamic and a creativity that is your unique signature. It's your soul print. It's your individuality that's coming out. Now, for those that really are in this path and really resonate with what I'm speaking here, you want to go to my website and you want to research and learn about
your soul print, okay? I have a package that helps illuminate the narratives that live within you. It's encoded. It's encoded for your evolutionary journey. So what I get with the circles, again, is that your individuality is pushing to come through, right? So here there's kind of a boundary and a self-honoring with regards to your tribe and relationships and friendships. Here, there's a uniqueness of expression that's wanting to come out and play. Now, for you, at the base of the reading, in your 3D reality, we have synchronicity, on the right path, wanting and desire, and dreaming. Now, Gemini, this is beautiful because this really is talking about kind of at a very base level over the course of the month. Things, you're going to experience life in flow. It's going to feel like it's moving in the right direction. It's going to feel like it is following your desires, that your desires are planting the seeds necessary to bring in what you want and desire, and your dreams. So you might be spending a lot of time envisioning that which you do desire, that which is the right path, that which you do want to see come into a convergence for you. So you're dreaming about it, but I think you're also going to be experiencing a flow, that things are moving on the right path, that things are following your desires, and you're going to be really seeing maybe some dreams come true this month. There's something that's activated over the course of this cycle that really is going to be, I have to say, for both, there's a sense of empowerment, Gemini, for you. I can't get these straight here. There's a sense of empowerment happening for Geminis, both squares and circles. Now, in your thoughts, you're going to be thinking about possibly returning to a place. It could be a place that you visited. It could be a community, a tribe of people, old friends perhaps that you used to communicate with. But it could be that indeed there's an important community that is really in your psyche, in your consciousness over the course of the cycle, and you are thinking about returning or revisiting this important community. Okay? Now, let's take a look at the two cards that came up for you. So for the growth edges for you, look at this. So we have, perfect, right? Lover. Now, Lover, let me read it, but let's talk about it then after. So Lover is about moving out of obsessive passion that harms others and self-destructive devotion. Now, if there is, for some of you, a religious affiliation that really is not resonating anymore, this is specifically speaking to that. For others of you where there's not a religious affiliation that's not resonating, but it's more just speaking your voice and finding your tribe that thinks your thoughts and, kind of a heart-centered tribe that really resonates with you, then that's what it is. But this particular growth edge, a self-destructive devotion that wants to be evolved, could speak to some of you. I do think it's speaking to some of you. What wants to be grown is great passion and devotion. So great passion. Unbridled appreciation of someone or something. But it's about being in the purity of it. Lover is talking about purely loving for the sake of love with no expectation, no need. There's no gripping. You're not looking for the other to validate you giving. This is about you being in the stream of love, you being in the source field. Okay? Now, beautifully, if we look at Pioneer, this is the secondary growth edge for the circles. This is the shadow attribute. What wants to be evolved out of is a compulsive need to keep moving on. Okay? So what wants to be evolved out of is moving from one thing to another. Okay? And what wants to be activated, matured, evolved is a passion. Again, we have passion in both, right? So here, a passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. Now, the reason why that's pretty juicy for you is because you received both the writing card and the creativity card. So for some of you out there, for a lot of you out there, for many of you out there, you're going to be understanding what I'm talking about here. There is some creative emergence that wants to come up and through you. Okay? And for some of you, it is going to be writing oriented. All right? So those are kind of these at the crux, at the baseline of your month. There's there's a truth for self. There's an alignment to self. There's an honoring of your boundaries here. There's an empowerment here. And here there's an honoring of your voice. And very specifically with regards to a creative voice. There's some project, something that the world needs now. Something that you need now. Something that people need now. That is calling to come forward. It's very exciting, Gemini. So just as I do every month, I've also pulled your I Ching narrative and the Dakini goddess to identify who you are to become, who you are to archetypally become, step into, to flow through this portal of time, your evolutionary process with ease. And you can find out about all of my services there. So you can go to thealchemyofholism.com/library. Okay? So until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good month. Bye.